All right, y'all. Okay. Sorry, we was down for a little bit. Move set. Also went to my personal Facebook page to do a little live, trying to get some traffic redirected over here. All right. So I'm sorry that we were down for longer than we should have been. We are still trying to get the full hang of all of this. All right. Do me a favor, if you're watching this, please share this on your page. Share this to your Facebook page. Hey, what's up? How y'all doing? We so go to the Facebook. What's up? Hey, that's right. No justice, no peace. What you say? We just out here reading books. We finishing up Assata, an autobiography. All right, y'all. No justice, no peace. All right, y'all. So we finishing up Assata, an autobiography. We stopped on chapter. We're on chapter 14, page 208. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure. Okay. Chapter 14, page 208. You're the property of the feds now. One of the marshals told me like he really believed it. We're taking you to... for sure. You're the property of the feds now. One of the marshals told me like he really believed it. We're taking you to MCC, the federal prison. We're taking you to MCC, the federal prison, Manhattan Correctional Center, where you'll stay while you stand trial for bank robbery. It was January 5th, 1976, 15 days after I had been acquitted on the kidnapping charge in Brooklyn Supreme Court. I was still on Rikers Island. He busied himself tying me up with what seemed an endless amount of chains and shackles. Another stupid-looking marshal told me how sorry he was to see me again. He said I'd give him hell the last time. I didn't even recognize him. He said he had worked on the last other bank robbery trial and had gotten chewed out because I got pregnant. You were framed, I told him. He looked at me all dumb, scratching his head. Yeah, that's right, I started to laugh. Even the other marshal started to crack up. It's not so funny, he said. I lost my commendation that went down in my record. I laughed even harder. The only way I can describe MCC is modern gray with dabs of colored paint here and there. It's one of those ugly inner city fortress buildings, anti-temperature, anti-human, and cold to all the senses. There was no fresh air because the entire building was air conditioned, and the only natural light came in from the narrow glass slits cuts in the side of the building and wired with alarms. The guards looked like space-age robotans with blue blazers, gray pants, walkie-talkies, and beepers. After I had been issued the standard uniform for women, a yellow jumpsuit and tennis shoes, I was led up to the women's section. To my absolute surprise, I was placed in general population, given a key to my cage, and told that there was no lock-in time. We were supposed to stand by the cell doors at various times of the day to be counted. The women's section was a relatively small area, comprising a central area for eating and recreation, a TV room, and 3 split-level tiers. There were a few offices, 1 or 2 rooms that served as classrooms, and that was it. The only other place the women could go, once in a while, was to the recreation on the roof, which was covered with huge metal anti-helicopter bars. After spending more than a month in that confining little place, the women were climbing the walls, and I'm sure the men felt the same way. A few of the federal prisoners were big time, with money and connections. They'd been arrested for more sophisticated crimes than the average state prisoner. But the majority were poor, black, or third world, just like in the state jails. But just like in the street, money talks. A lot of the men on the honor floor, which was on the same floor as the women, had money, and rumor had it that they would send their favorite guards out to buy them Chinese or Italian food or send them to the Jewish delicatessen, depending on their mood. One drug dealer made frequent visits to the women's section in the wee small hours for conjugal visits with his wife. Since the men on the honor floor had contact with the women, many tried to buy them by sending them huge quantities of commissary items. Others tried to impress the women with tall tales about how much they had ripped off or how big they were on the street. I was sitting on a bench with this white guy, waiting for them to take me to court one morning, and he was steady talking $1 and $2 million deals he had pulled off. He was some kind of con artist, busted for stock fraud. You shouldn't be here, I told him. You should be in the White House with all the other big-time con artists. I was trying, he said. I was trying, he said. I was trying like hell. There were two sisters who I knew from Rikers. I was rarely happy to see them both. Skeets was a strong, stand-up sister who kept her mouth shut, minded her business, and didn't take any shit from anybody. She was a real warm-hearted person, generous and open, and maintained a whole lot of humanity, even though she was facing a hunk of time on a bank robbery case. I was shocked when I ran into Charlie, who I had known on Rikers as Charlene. She had changed completely. She was no longer the thin, round-faced young sister I had known on the rock. It was as if she had aged overnight. She had written some dynamite poetry and had been part of the drama group. But this time, she had been arrested for parole violation on a technicality and just didn't give a damn about anything. She was bitter and tired, and her whole attitude can be summed up into two words that she frequently used. Shove it. She told me that her freedom depended on whether or not she passed the high school equivalency test. Everybody encouraged her to study, but she just didn't seem to care anymore. She said she was tired of jumping through hoops and didn't give a damn about what happened. I understood how she felt, but I hated to see her so bitter and so hurt with nowhere to go with it, nothing positive to apply it to. I wanted to help her, but I didn't know how, and I was only going to be there for a hot minute. The only thing that perked her up was the struggle the women got into to improve medical care at the jail. At the time, the health situation was horrible. Women came in off the street and were given no physical exam, no tests, no nothing. They had trouble seeing gynecologists and having their most basic needs met, medical or otherwise. Since we were a tiny minority of the prison population, our needs were ignored. The women got together and wrote complaints to the warden. Charlie was one of the women who worked the hardest to get better medical conditions. It's kind of ironic when I think about it now. A little more than a year later, I heard over the prison grapevine that Charlene had died from undiagnosed cancer of the uterus. The Queens Bank robbery trial, which I was here for, was one of the wildest trials I ever went through. We had just finished with the Brooklyn kidnapping case, and I was not at all looking forward to going to trial again so soon. Excuse me, I'm gonna get a drink, my fault. Share this. For almost 3 years now, Evelyn had worked on my cases continuously. She had quit a job as a professor at New York University Law School on the day I was arrested on the turnpike to become my lawyer. One of the few cases she had accepted since my arrest, mostly to earn some money, was ready for trial, and she couldn't postpone it any longer. So I had to get someone else for my trial. Some of the brothers and sisters recommended Stanley Cohen to me. They said he was a good lawyer and would do a good job on this kind of case. I was hesitant because I always had black lawyers representing me. I felt that they would probably be more understanding and more sensitive to the situation I was dealing with. I'm not talking about any old black lawyer because some of them make a whole lot of money and think like Richard Nixon. I'm talking about those who are concerned with the plight of black people. I was especially sensitive to the issue after months of listening to some of the sisters at Rikers. They were so brainwashed they thought a white lawyer, any white lawyer, was better than a black lawyer. They also felt the same way about white doctors, white dentists, white teachers, etc. Oh yeah, it's not gonna work. He bumping too hard. It's a siren going. It's an alarm going off. Sirens going. It's nuts out here tonight. I ain't going to court with no black lawyer, they say. I want me a white lawyer who is friendly with the judge and ain't gonna make him mad. I tried to tell them that it didn't matter what color their lawyer was. If the lawyer went against the judge and really put up a fight for the client, the judge wouldn't go get mad. Few, if any, black defendants had ever been freed because the judge liked the lawyer. If you had a dime for every time a judge and a defense lawyer sat down at lunch and discussed some black client rotting away in jail, you'd be able to stop working and live on the interest. I decided to talk with Cohen. Damn, this shit is crazy. The sirens. I decided to talk with Cohen and see whether I thought he would be good for the case. Stanley was a middle-aged, Jewish, feisty-looking man who somehow reminded me of W.C. Fields. He had a dramatic streak in him that could change the tone and mood of his voice from indignant to pleading in a matter of seconds. He had a long list of acquittals in his record and told funny stories about the strategies he used in this trial or that one. He had once been a member of the Communist Party and continued to have progressive politics. Why do you like being a criminal lawyer? I asked him. How can you stand to fight in the court system knowing how much racism and injustice is involved? It was a loaded question, put out there to see how he would answer it. I expected him to say something like, somebody had to do it, somebody had to make the sacrifice. I like to win, he said. I do it because I like to win. I liked him and decided I wanted him to defend me on the bank robbery case. Evelyn gave Stanley the transcripts from the time I was beaten up in court by the U.S. Marshals trying to photograph me, together with all of the other documents in the file, and worked with him on the trial strategy. Andrew Jackson had pled guilty, so I was on trial alone. Everything was rush, rush, rush. The railroad train was whistling and it could hardly wait to take me up the river. The new judge assigned to the case wanted the case over with, and he wanted it over with fast. We wanted to question the prospective jurors about their opinions, what they had seen and heard in the media, etc. The judge was determined not to have a long voir dire, and so we compromised. A questionnaire was made up asking some of the questions we submitted and others that the prosecutor submitted. After we went through the answers, we were to pick or eliminate jurors, asking additional questions as needed. Some of the answers were so contradictory, and such a study on the level of racism in America, that it would take a book just to report on them. In 100% of the cases, we were able to tell whether the prospective juror was black, white, or other just by reading the answers. The trial had a lighthearted feel to it. Everyone had kind of decided that we would enjoy the fight and fight as hard as we could without worrying about whether we were going to win or lose. I don't think that there was a single one of us, with the possible exception of Afeni Shakur, who really thought we were going to win. Afeni, who was working as a legal assistant, kept telling me, we're going to win this one, Assata. But I sure as hell didn't believe it. They had taken a bank picture of a woman robbing a bank, printed my name under it as being positively identified, and then placed that picture in the newspapers, subway stations, and I think even on the sides of buses. They had this picture posted in every bank in New York. There was not a person in New York who had went to the bank, rode the subway, or walked the streets who had not seen that photograph with my name printed under it 1,000 times. There was no way of even counting how many times that picture had been flashed on television with the announcer calling out my name. The public had been so saturated with that image that I felt it was crazy to take this trial seriously. After Stanley was familiar with some of the facts, I asked him what he thought my chances were. I'd be lying if I told you that they would look good. In reality, they look pretty lousy. But I believe you, and I'm going to fight for you. And, believe me, I like to fight. We agreed that I would act as co-counsel on the case. You're a lousy lawyer, he would tell me every time we got into an argument over some strategy. But you're better than a lot of lawyers I know who passed the bar. The atmosphere was electric. The courtroom was packed every day with sisters and brothers who had to come to watch the circus. I couldn't stop staring. I have always said that the best thing about being on trial is getting to see and smile at the spectators. Seeing so many beautiful people in the courtroom gave us the push we needed to get down and take care of business. I felt that way during all of my trials, but this trial had an atmosphere that made it even more special. People from all over the black community dropped by. The Muslim sisters and brothers brought their prayer rugs and broke out into prayer in the hallway of the courthouse. People brought their children, explaining what was happening. One little girl broke up the whole courtroom when she asked out loud, "Is that the fascist pig, mommy?" pointing up at the judge. It was as if black folks had just taken over the courtroom, letting everybody that they know watching what was going down. The first thing we did was ask for a lineup. The way I had been identified was from a photo. The FBI selected my photograph from the militant case book. This book contained the photographs of all the militants the FBI wanted to send to prison. After they had gotten my photograph out of the militant case book, they put it in with a few other photographs of women. Of course, mine, a mugshot, was the only one with numbers across the front of it. The rest were normal. The FBI then showed this group of pictures to the robbery witnesses and asked them to identify someone who somewhat resembled or bore likeness to the woman who robbed the bank. Two of the people who were in the bank signed affidavits saying that the photograph with the numbers across it, my mugshot, looked somewhat like the woman. The rest who had been in the bank at the time of the robbery made no such identification. We told the judge we wanted a lineup because we thought the initial identification of me as the bank robber was suggestive and tainted. But before the judge had arranged for the lineup, the prosecutor called for one of the so-called witnesses to testify. Since I was the only black woman sitting in the defendant's chair, of course he identified me. We protested the procedure, but the judge admitted his testimony anyway. We finally did arrange for a lineup, and, of course, the other so-called witnesses picked out another woman. Since the photo identification part of the case was based on nothing more than all niggers look alike, the FBI tried to use scientific evidence to gain a conviction. Their plan to superimpose the bank surveillance photo over my photograph failed because they had only one photo of me that was taken at the same angle as the bank robbery picture. It was one of the photographs taken when they assaulted me in the courtroom before the trial began, when I refused to let them take my picture. The FBI had blocked out the faces and hands of the marshals and FBI agents choking and assaulting me. They had cropped the picture so that the only thing the jury could see was my face. But my facial expression in the photograph was one of such agony that it was hard for them to convince the jury of anything else. So the FBI came up with a brilliant idea. They brought in some dude from the FBI who said he was an expert on identifying photographs by examining them under a microscope. He was a real pro, slick as grease. He had charts and diagrams and whatnot, and I was worried to death that the jury would go for that crap. He sounded real good until it came time for cross-examination. It turned out that he was a specialist in paleontology and had spent a lot of time studying rocks. He tried to claim that his expertise at examining rocks made him able to identify people. Under cross-examination, all his carefully constructed expertise turned into a pile of rocks, and this new technical breakthrough in crime fighting proved to be nothing but a fraud. Because the prosecution had been allowed to introduce this new scientific evidence, the judge said we had the right to find a photographic expert to rebut the testimony. Since I didn't have a dime, the court agreed to pay for it. The day our photographic expert testified, I slumped down in the seat. He was a real straight-looking white guy who looked like he subscribed to Reader's Digest. But the guy had credentials in photography a mile long, and you could tell from the way he talked that he loved photography and that he was insist over what the FBI was trying to do. He explained to the jury the chemical process of photography, and what the FBI agent said was absolutely impossible. He said that if you look at a photograph under a microscope, all you will see is little dots. His testimony was so correct and his facts so together that the prosecutor barely bothered to cross-examine him. The capper came when the manager of the bank came forward to testify on my behalf. He said that I was definitely not the woman who robbed the bank and that the robber was a different height and weight from mine. We could see the prosecutor quietly creep under his table. His last hope was the summation. In his closing statement, he tried to make up for everything he had not proved with the evidence. He painted me as an evil, conniving monster. He told the jury that I was hiding the fact that I had big fat arms like the woman who was shown robbing the bank, that I was concealing my arms because I had not worn a sleeveless dress in court. The trial was held in the middle of January. As he was talking, I politely rolled up my sleeves right there in the courtroom, exposing my very thin arms. When he got to the final part of his closing, he grew strangely confident. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this woman is very clever, very conniving. She has tried to deceive this jury in every way. But she made one mistake. Ladies and gentlemen, she made one fatal error. He then held up a picture of the woman robbing the bank, and in the other hand, he held up my mugshot picture. She made one mistake, he kept repeating. She forgot to change her earrings. She has the same earrings on. The prosecutor was so dramatic. The scene was so straight out of the movies. You could tell he had been watching The Late Show. Both the woman in the bank and I had on hoop earrings. Hey, this is my song. I like this song, though. I'm gonna let this ride. Oh, this Drake part. That Drake part coming up. Drake part about to play? Yeah, Drake part about to play. Oh, no, he finna leave for Drake part play. When Stanley summed up, he just said, "Will all the women in the courtroom who have on hoop earrings please stand up?" Half the women rose to their feet. While the jury was out deliberating, I paced back and forth in the holding pen. "They're going to convict me anyway," I told Afeni. They probably weren't even listening. "That jury isn't going to convict you, Assata," Afeni replied. "Did you see the faces of those jurors, especially the black ones?" It was true. I had seen them look at me differently after the truth started coming out. And I knew that the black jurors in the deliberating room would make all the difference in the world. If nothing else, they remind some of the if nothing else, they remind some of the more racist whites that black people are human beings. It's a shame that too many black people try to avoid jury duty instead of trying to slow down the railroad. A lot of times it's a matter of simple economics. Black people often feel they can't afford to sit on the jury, that the money they would lose would mean a sacrifice for their family, and they are probably right. But their sitting on the jury might mean that their neighbor's son or daughter doesn't end up frying in the electric chair or rotting away behind bars. A verdict had been reached. I could tell what it was a verdict had been reached. I could tell what it was before we even entered the courtroom. The pigs were upset, to put it mildly. The female guard who escorted me to the court every day seemed glad. The jury read the verdict. Acquittal. The courtroom broke into a loud cheer. The judge just gave up calling for order. He had to wait for the shouting to die down. It was a long time coming. All the spectators were jumping around, hugging each other. The marshals led me out of the courtroom and handcuffed me. They brought me back to Rikers Island where I was put into solitary confinement. Okay. Supposed to be doing. Man, that's a lot to react to. Oh, man. Man, I ain't gonna stunt. That was heavy. Heavy in the sense of it was a shorter chapter, but the things being spoken about, like the drawn out, her describing the trial, and she writes in a very straight to the point manner, but in a very still detailed and descriptive manner, but it's still but straight to the point. But the trial was like thinking about myself maybe having to go to trial here soon for charges that I received while demonstrating in Rockford, Illinois, during 2020. To think about the anxiety. To think about the anxiety of the trial. To think about where she talked about she talked about the lawyer having some of the people that she was in jail with not having confidence or belief in a black person being their lawyer, and then she even took it to a further extent and said it was black people who felt that they didn't want a black person to be their lawyer, to be their doctor, to be their teacher, to be nothing. They just didn't feel like black people could do it at the same at the same caliber of white people, which is just part of stigmatization. It's part of institutionalizations, all those negative Asians that we go through all the time. But excuse me, I'm sorry about that. But I think that the other thing that I think the other thing that I want to point out about that chapter is damn, where was that? Hold on, I want to make sure I'm getting everything, man. Okay, yeah. And at the very beginning of it, she spoke about being in jail, and she described the jail, and she described how she felt in the jail, and basically the decorum of the jail. And as she was saying it, I just was like visualizing it. A lot of the things that she wrote, the things that's been different about and I guess it sort of starts with, I guess each one sort of gets more and more closer to it being, and Ari sort of spoke on this, just a full in-depth, personalized story of something, of a person, but I'm visualizing some of these things as I'm reading them, as opposed to the new Jim Crow when I'm sort of like stacking the information. I'm sort of laying the information. It's sort of like a stat sheet, you know, and these numbers is going in all of these places, and I'm trying to like think about these years and who is the president, and I'm sort of getting that type of a layout, you know, which is separate for me from They Can't Kill Us All in Assata, in which for me, it's a lot of visualizing what the person is writing about and visualizing the scene and putting myself in there, you know, in the midst of that. And that's also heavy. The numbers are heavy too, because they're so the numbers and the facts are so mind-blowing that those things are also a heavy burden. But then once you put yourself into those shoes of the person dealing with these issues and empathize, now that you've started to understand how these issues become prevalent, you're easier to empathize with the person in these situations, and you understand how many people have been in these situations, and you understand the implications of these situations. And so just reading somebody's experience is just magnified, you know, and that's what I felt as I was reading her describe her experience in the jail. And so I think that is, excuse me, sorry about that. I don't want to my fault. But yeah, that's what I sort of got when I was reading that. Okay, sorry about that. My fault. I'm trying to make sure that I'm sharing this page, sharing this video. Make sure that you share this video. If you're watching this video, share this video. I'm going right now to the May 30th Alliance page, and I'm pinning this to the top. Again, we are out here 24 hours we have been out here for over 180 days for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, morning, afternoon, evening, and night. Somebody from the May 30th Alliance has been out here holding it down in this occupation, not allowing the consciousness of the city to go back to what it was before May 30th. Okay, and we're going to continue doing that. Right now, we are reading Assata, an autobiography. We are on chapter 15, okay? Okay, and that's what I want to do too. I want to make sure that I'm gonna flip this around. There's the police out here, man. You never know what these police gonna be out here on. But we live. We are, when people talk about being outside, being in the streets, that's what we doing. We outside, we in the streets. We trying to teach people. We trying to educate people. We trying to get people on the same wavelength as us. We trying to get these things. We trying to make these things. We trying to make these things. The police, man. They throwing my energy off. Their energy just so negative. They frequency so low. They vibrate at such a low frequency. You ever watching a movie and you know the music start changing and you can tell some negative shit finna happen? It's just like that with these police. And that's why what we doing is relevant. They can't kill us all. That's why what we doing is relevant. The end of police, and that's why what we doing is relevant. The new Jim Crow. That's why what we doing is relevant. Assata, an autobiography. She was a political prisoner. She had to flee this country because of her political beliefs. So we is out here trying to raise the consciousness of the city. All right. Okay, let's do. Okay, hold on. I was supposed to be sharing this. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. My fault, y'all. Let myself get distracted. Let me share this. Okay. Pin to the top. Pinning this to the top. Share. I'm finna go share it. Okay, man. And I think I want to say this too before I get into this next page. I believe the trial of Derek Chauvin is gonna be starting back up on Monday. I want us as a community. I want us as a people to be aware of these moments that we in, man. Be aware of these moments. Don't be reactionary. Don't be reactionary revolutionaries, man. That's something I done that I was a term I done learned about very recently, man. We can't afford to just be waiting to react to the things that happen. And so I just shared this. I got a pin. I got a pin to the top of the page. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right, y'all. And we gonna get these other multiple social media sites running too. We just having a few issues. That's it. And so we gonna finish this up, y'all. I'm sorry. I gotta do multiple things. Social media demands it. Okay. I gotta. Oh damn! I'm gonna let me get one more chapter in. Her chapter's shorter though. Yeah, her chapter's not like, yeah, this is one of her chapters. And then I'll pass it to you. It's been crazy. I thought I was gonna be doing like an exuberant amount of reading. And like because the flow been going well, I found myself like trying to like, oh damn, I don't know if I done did enough. Let me try to. And two, I done like, once you start getting into it, you start really being in it. Like I done did like two chat like these last two now, so like now I'm sort of in it.
Yeah, the book that I was reading,
Yeah.
Since it was newspaper like, or it didn't require as much talking.
Ah, okay.
Sort of self-explanatory.
Right. I don't think I know who this is. Dang. What's up, man? Man, out here reading this book, Assata, an autobiography. His name Denzel Duvant. He got beat up over in Fairgrounds January 5th by the Rockford Police Department while he was handcuffed. Yep. Yep, I got a business card I can give to you. You got one? Okay, bet. Thanks. Good looking, man. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? I like this shit. But I finished out a YouTube channel. So.
Oh yeah, bet for real. Oh yeah. We gotta come down here and chop it up, man. We been doing this for the whole month of April. We reading a different book every day for the full 24 hours. We on this day 4, so we. Yeah. Yep, you can check it out. Yeah, we film it live 24/7. Yep. Yeah, we. All right, bet. Yeah, we gonna get it to him. All right, be safe out here, brother. Okay, so we on chapter 11. I'm gonna knock this chapter out and then I'm gonna pass it to Antar. Okay. A bundle of energy walked into the Black Panther Party office on 7th Avenue. If a light had been plugged into me, I'm sure I would have lit up half of Harlem. I was fired up and raging to go. When I joined the BPP, I was determined to give it everything I had. The officer of the day gave me a form to fill out. He couldn't find a second sheet, so I went back with him to look for it. He was searching through a file cabinet which was in a state of anti-order. It was a complete mess. I offered to arrange it for him, and the brother consented. In a minute, I was knee-deep in paper, indexing and putting everything in alphabetical order. After everybody's security files were filed, I cut index markers out of a manila folder, thinking about how lax security was. I had just walked in off the street and they had let me go through all the files. I explained the new system to the brother, happy at least that the experience gained from all those boring office jobs was put to some revolutionary use. Okay, I think that's, I got to stop right there too. Oh man, I didn't mean to hit that. And this is something that I heard H-Rap Brown say, his name is, he has a different name now. I have to find out the exact enunciation of that name. I don't want to butcher it, but one of the things that I heard him speak about in a speech that has become very instrumental to my belief pattern in all these things. He spoke about how we must wage revolution in the place in which we exist. And he spoke about how college students needed to be organizing welfare mothers. And he spoke about how, you needed to struggle in the place in which you are at, in the place in which you already exist right now. And he spoke about how You needed to use things that you had learned through life and the specialties and the skills that you had. You needed to use those things for the struggle. And so he spoke about how one of the metaphors he gave is, it's a brother that's in the IBM plant right now, and he's sabotaging the computers. That's the way that he choosing to wage his revolutionary struggle. He existed on the plane in which he waging the revolution in the plane in which he exists. And so I think that's an important thing to do. And I think it's also important to be able to take the skills that maybe you have already gotten. Some of us are going to be in a place where we have gotten certain skills from this society. We have gotten certain skills from this capitalistic and racist society. How can we take those skills that we have gotten from some of these institutions and reformat them to be able to use them to struggle and be able to use them to try to get some type of liberation and for revolutionary causes? For an example, I would have an experience as an assistant manager and, working in retail helped me with with organizational skills and helped me with some of my communication skills and helped me with some of my listening skills. And so I've taken something that was used in a skill and a tool that I gained in the society, in this capitalistic society. I've removed that tool. Instead of trying to earn money for this retail company or for this arbitrary company, I'm now using those same tools to try to reap some type of benefits for my people, reap some type of benefits from the struggle. And in the time in which I was working and making money and buying into the capitalistic society and having more materialistic things, it was somebody else who was filling my void in some manner, struggling in some manner. And so I say that to say that don't fear stepping into the struggle. Don't fear stepping closer into the revolution, into the fight. Don't worry. Especially people. If you're a Christian or you somebody who a spiritual person and you believe in scripture or things of that nature. One of the things that I would use for an example is, they spoke about the grass not worrying about, or animals not worrying about when their next meal was going to come from. Or the grass not worrying about, being watered, the trees not worrying about, being, the winter and things, things of that nature. And still they get it, the animals eat, still the rain comes for the grass. And so that's something that I've had to learn. It was times where I was worried about certain things and worried about certain financial implications and worried about certain materialistic desires and worried about certain social standings. And as I omitted those things and started to submit the desire for some of those things and get closer to understanding some of these issues and understanding ways that these issues need to be fixed. Simultaneously, the community is there to help. The collective that we build in is there to help. And these things work hand in hand. And so we don't be scared to take those skills and to add them to this. So that's what I just want to. I think that's important. She pointed that out, so I just had to take a side for that. That same evening, I was on a bus to Philadelphia. The party had called for a constitutional convention to write a new constitution that would guarantee the rights of the poor and oppressed and would be anti-racist and anti-fascist. We were attending that's Antifa. We were attending the plenary session for the convention to be held later in D.C. This session was a definite up. Everybody's spirits were soaring. It took my breath away to see all these revolutionaries get up and tell it like it was. I was happy as a dog in Boneville. My hotel room was a pool table in the basement of a church. I slept better than a princess on 20 mattresses. When I got back to New York, I was assigned to the medical cadre. Joanne Bird was my immediate supervisor. She had been a nursing student and was one of the defendants in the New York Panther 21 case. She was out on $100,000 bail and was working on the trial. She had been beaten, tortured, and hung upside down out of a police station window. She had big soft eyes, nervous lips, and that face of someone who had been forced to grow up too soon. She reminded me of someone who had led a very sheltered life and then, all of a sudden, found herself in a cold, cruel world. She was sort of shy, and I felt sorry for her because she seemed to be under so much pressure. She took everything to heart. Nothing seemed to slide off her back. She worried about everything and everyone. She was facing 30 years in prison, so I had to do most of the medical cadre work, and she worried herself sick about that. The medical cadre was responsible for the health care of the Panthers. We made medical and dental appointments for them and taught them basic first aid so that they could help the people in emergencies. Periodically, we set up a table on the street corner and gave free TB tests or gave out information on sickle cell anemia. It was also my job to work with the black medical students and doctors who we were counting on to help us set up a free clinic in Harlem. The Panther Party had brought a brownstone on 127th Street, and as soon as it was renovated, we planned to open a free clinic there. Every week, all the medical cadre members from the Bronx, Brooklyn, Harlem, Jamaica, and Corona branches met at the Bronx Ministry of Information. On my first trip to the ministry, I carried a big stack of Panther newspapers. I was a lousy paper seller, and most of the time I got some of my doing good friends to chip in and buy them. Then we give them away to the people. The head of the medical cadre was Alawiya, and from the first moment she gained my respect and admiration. She was serious about everything that concerned black people, but when it came to their health, she was a fanatic. She demanded that we take our job seriously, and woe be to the medical cadre who showed up at the weekly meeting with nothing on their progress reports. Alawiya had a young daughter, but she nevertheless did the work of two people. I got expelled from the party, though, that first night after the medical cadre meeting. When I came out of the meeting, my stack of Panther papers was gone. I asked around, but no one had seen them. Finally, Robert B., the head of the whole East Coast branch of the party, said that he had seen them. Where are they? I asked him. I threw them away. What do you mean you threw them? What do you mean you threw them away? I asked, thinking it was some kind of joke. I threw them away, he insisted. Y'all know that you're not supposed to leave the papers out here on the desk. This will teach you to put the papers up on the rack where they belong. I explained that it was my first time coming up to the ministry and that I had no way of knowing the procedure. You should have asked, he replied arrogantly. I threw them away and that's that. I was losing my patience. Look, man, why don't you just give me my paper so that I can get out of here? I don't have time to stay in here all night. I told you I threw the papers away, and that's that. Then you're either a liar or a fool, I shot back. He had made me mad. Gone and stepped on my last nerve. Then he tried to get all bad, getting all up in my face, trying to defend his stupid arrogance. I was in no mood for fooling around. I cursed him out royally and walked out of the office. The next day, when I walked into the Harlem office, Bashir, the officer of the day, told me I would have to leave. What do you mean, leave? I asked. He said that he was sorry, but Robert B. had called and told him that I was no longer in the party. I was burnt. I got the Bronx Ministry and told him to put B on the phone and proceeded to call him the unprincipled, arrogant idiot that he was. In addition to being cowardly, he hadn't even told me to my face I was expelled. I was so warm I wasn't even surprised when he apologized and told me I was reinstated. I hate arrogance, whether it's white or purple or black. Some people let power go to their heads. They think that just because they have some kind of title in front of their name, you're supposed to bend over and kiss them on the ass. The only great people I have met have been modest and humble. You can't claim that you love people when you don't respect them, and you can't call for political unity unless you practice it in your relationships. And that doesn't happen out of nowhere. That's something that has got to be put into practice every day. It's getting. I'm having to layer back up. That's crazy. It's starting to a little bit at a time. Let me point out that too. What she said with that whole paragraph, when she talked again. This is the multiple a common thing. A common thing theme with her. She speaks about the attitude in which organization have towards the people. Oh no. Oh yeah, it's starting to drizzle. Okay, we gonna have to figure this out. Yeah, right there. You see?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. We can figure it out. Oh yeah, I just probably just flip it.
Start light.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it. I got on.
I saw they said somebody said something too.
Somebody said it was supposed to rain.
Yeah, I just took it for granted that they said that it was gonna be a little. It was like a little bit after around midnight. I'm like, that's probably like 1:30, 2, something like that. I'm thinking. I think I probably just think if I did, this over here.
A little bit of shelter, who knows?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. I just don't know like how well will that.
You're not gonna have enough space.
Yeah, cause I ain't gonna be able to get in there.
How practical would it be to move this over?
By the UAW over there.
No, where that spot where you charge up at.
Yeah. Oh, over back by the Chase Bank building.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. It is.
Is it much that we would have to take?
No, to move
He'll
over.
be here in a minute. He coming at 12?
Yeah, he coming in 12. Yeah, I think really the main things we have to take over would just be the table and the books, and then the other stuff we probably just can, if we had a tarp.
Switch tables?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, you're right. We can just take that smaller table over. I'm gonna just keep this rolling while we move stuff.
Did it stop?
No, you did it. It's just light. It's just so light. It's real. It's raining, so we on the move. It's real. It's raining. We on the move. We figuring it out. We on the move. All right, I'm finna take the mics and stuff, so I'm plugging. Okay, we moving stuff because it's raining. April 4th, day 4, Assata and autobiography.
Okay.
Okay.
We need to bring the salt over.
Man, I don't know how windy it is. So. Okay, Bluetooth connected. Okay, we have move sets. This is officially. Oh wait, y'all can hear me. We have move sets. This is officially our third set. Third set. Day 4. Assata and autobiography is what we reading. It's beginning to rain out here in Rockford, Illinois. So we gotta make it happen. We moving it around. Okay. Hello, y'all hear me? We back. We on. We still on. We still going. Okay, if you are just now tuning back in, we have move sets. Some people gonna pop up and not even know. Okay, I'm gonna share the page. Go to the page. A lot of people know we just moved sets. We just moved sets. We have just moved sets on live. Day 4, man. Rain coming. Okay. I'm gonna go grab my backpack real quick.
There's a little piece of a blunt on that white table on the corner closest to the city hall.
was trying to.
I held it. What is that radio? When they were doing pirates, what they call
Oh, pirate radio, yeah, with Philip Seymour Hoffman, yeah. That's crazy, yeah. I'm sorry. Oh, damn, I should have brought another one.
What else you need?
No, that's it. I was saying I should have brought another chair for you. All right, y'all. We just moved that. Possibly we can get rainy weather tonight. Drizzle started coming down, so just to be on the safe side, we move to a different side. Okay. I'm sorry. I just okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to whoever watching this. Okay. I'm sorry. Day 4. Okay. I'm sorry for real. Okay, excuse me, I'm sorry. Dang, I'm about to reposition this. Oh, actually that worked. The first day I was assigned. Can y'all hear me out there? Is anybody watching this? Anybody watching? Anybody watching? Anybody that is watching, please let me know. Can you hear well? You can hear well? I think so. We should be good. Yeah, that rain is in the air. Man, Denzel right here is crazy. Man, put him right there, man. For real. People need to see. This is the truth. People need to see the truth. Okay, y'all. The first day I was assigned to the breakfast program, I overslept. To get there on time, I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning. I was the picture of shame and remorse as I came plodding into the office. Fancy meeting you here, the sister who I was supposed to be helping said. So nice of you to come. Later on that evening, I criticized myself for being late. That's all right, sister, the brother who was leading the meeting said. You can do penance work by working on the breakfast program for life. For life, I repeated. Yep, you can show your sincerity to the hungry children of Harlem by working on the breakfast for as long as you're in the party. I have always hated to get up in the morning, and the sheer idea of getting up every day at 4:30 made me groan. But I thought about the children I let down. Getting up early should be an easy thing for a revolutionary. See, you had did the right thing putting it in the corner like that. I tried to be extra. You right. That's gonna keep it up. That's how you had it right.
I had it in the shot.
No.
You don't need it in the shot.
No, yeah. I was trying to put it in the shot. You had it right, but I moved it.
Moved it more.
Yeah, I had moved it. The way you had it still, and then I moved it in more, and then that's when it fell.
And picking up.
Oh, damn. We might need the salt.
You gonna fall behind.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah. We fuck around, have to go grab the salt. I can grab one of them. Dang, that's crazy. I was just thinking to myself, like, it ain't no wind. It's probably because of where we sitting at now, huh? Probably wasn't wind up there, but it's wind up here. I know. I'm like, damn. But I think it is. I think is it supposed to rain more later? Somebody did say it was supposed to rain today or tonight. Around 12. Oh yeah, it is supposed to rain. Yeah.
but it's just for a little bit. It's just a.
I'm gonna say one and two.
Yeah, you right. Mine do too. You right. Oh yeah, it's not. Yeah, you right.